Ownership composition of a company's equity. In FSA, delving beyond the numbers into non-financial internal diagnosis is imperative for a holistic understanding of organizational dynamics. While financial metrics provide valuable insights, factors such as ownership composition, corporate governance, strategic analysis, operational performance, organizational culture, product and services, and customer distribution networks offer nuanced perspectives essential for informed decision-making. This holistic approach empowers stakeholders to make informed decisions, mitigate risks, and confidently pursue financial objectives. Introduction. Within FSA, the ownership composition of a company's equity refers to the breakdown and distribution of ownership interests among various corporation stakeholders. It involves identifying and analyzing the different classes of equity holders, such as ordinary shareholders, preferred shareholders, and institutional investors, to understand the ownership structure and its implications for corporate governance and decision-making. Objectives. To achieve a comprehensive understanding of a company's ownership structure, FSA analysis focuses on the following key objectives. First, understanding ownership structure. The primary objective is to comprehend the company's ownership structure by identifying different classes of equity holders and their respective ownership stakes. This understanding helps assess the distribution of control and influence within the organization. Second, assessing governance dynamics. Another objective is to evaluate governance dynamics inherent in the ownership composition. It involves analyzing the concentration of ownership and assessing the potential for conflicts of interest. Understanding governance dynamics aids in evaluating the effectiveness of corporate governance mechanisms and ensuring alignment between management and shareholders' interests. Third, evaluating risk exposure. Analyzing ownership composition allows assessing risks associated with the company's equity structure. It includes identifying significant minority interests and assessing the potential for hostile takeovers or shareholder activism. Understanding these risks is crucial for risk management and strategic decision-making. And finally, forecasting future performance. Understanding ownership composition assists in forecasting future performance and strategic outcomes. Changes in ownership structure, such as shifts in control or significant investments by new shareholders, may signal changes in strategic priorities or management objectives. Monitoring ownership dynamics lets analysts anticipate potential corporate strategy and business direction changes. Scope. To fulfill these objectives, the analysis will cover the following areas within ownership composition. 1. Shareholder composition. Determining the percentage ownership held by different categories of shareholders, including institutional investors like mutual funds and pension funds, individual investors and insiders. It helps assess the concentration or dispersion of ownership and the influence of different shareholder groups on corporate decision-making. 2. Insider ownership. This involves examining the extent of ownership held by company insiders, such as executives, directors, and employees. It can impact their incentives, alignment with shareholders' interests, and potential conflicts of interest. High insider ownership may signal confidence in the company's prospects, but raise concerns about entrenchment or self-dealing. 3. Institutional ownership. Analyzing institutional investors' ownership positions, such as asset management firms, hedge funds, and private equity firms, which often exert significant influence on corporate governance, including strategic decisions, board composition, executive compensation, and other governance matters. 4. Activist investors. One way to influence corporate policies and strategies is through shareholder activism, which involves identifying activist investors. Activist investors use tactics such as proxy battles, shareholder proposals, or engagement with management to push for changes that aim to enhance shareholder value, improve governance practices, or address perceived deficiencies in financial performance. 5. Voting rights and control. Assessing the voting rights associated with different classes of shares and the level of control exercised by various shareholders, particularly those holding significant voting power. Concentrated ownership by a controlling shareholder or a group of insiders may affect governance structures and minority shareholder protections. 6. Equity classification and analysis. The scope includes classifying and analyzing different types of equity instruments issued by the company, such as common stock, preferred stock, warrants, and options. Analysts examine each class of equities' rights, preferences, and restrictions to understand their impact on ownership composition. 7. Identification of key shareholders. Analysts identify key shareholders and institutional investors holding significant ownership stakes in the company. It involves analyzing regulatory filings, shareholder reports, and other disclosures to determine the composition of the shareholder base. 8. Changes in ownership structure. The scope includes monitoring changes in ownership structure over time, such as acquisitions, divestitures, and changes in institutional ownership levels. These changes provide insights into investor sentiment shifts and potential changes in corporate control or direction. Conclusion. Understanding the ownership composition of a company's equity is critical for comprehensive financial statement analysis. It provides insights into the distribution of control and influence within the organization, governance dynamics, risk exposure, and potential changes in strategic direction. By examining various aspects of ownership, such as shareholder composition, insider and institutional ownership, and voting rights, stakeholders can make informed decisions about the company's governance and future performance. This analysis not only aids in assessing the current state of the company, but also helps anticipate future shifts that could impact its strategic and financial outcomes. Quiz. Welcome to the Ownership Structure Analysis quiz. Please select the correct answer for each question.